Hello and welcome back to Sonny Talk Spurs, and today I'm going to be answering the question, should Tottenham sell Richarlison? But before we get into this, if you are new to the channel, why don't you hit a like on the video, subscribe to Sonny Talk Spurs and hit that notification bell because it lets you know every time I've gone live. Now, let's get into the video. So news broke yesterday afternoon from Manor at the Telegraph, and he had news that apparently, and I say apparently because you never know in this game, Richarlison is wanted by Saudi Arabian clubs, but he doesn't specify which clubs. So, you know, I'm surprised. Saudi Arabia, you know, they were going for the heavy hitters to start, the Ronaldos of this world, you know, Benzema. And now they've come a couple of tiers below and they want Richarlison, supposedly. And also they want Jadon Sancho, who has obviously been linked to Tottenham as well. So obviously after seeing this news, I thought I, got to react to it. Big news, especially because, the injury crisis is happening at Spurs. Can we even afford to sell a player like Richarlison? But today I think I'm going to argue a certain way. I believe, and I'm going to get this straight off the bat, that we should keep Richarlison. I feel like he is still a valid member of this squad. He just hasn't had the rub of the green or yet the time to prove himself under Ange Postecoglou. But there is interesting reading into this. Obviously, on the tweet that I saw this news from, it says Richarlison has scored twice for Spurs this season, but head coach Ange Postecoglou has preferred Son through the middle and Johnson replaced Richarlison on the left against Chelsea before the former Everton player underwent surgery. Obviously, Richarlison, as we all know, has had surgery on a pelvic issue. Can you believe it? So that's why he hasn't felt his best this season. But, all we have to do is look at his Premier League stats from last season compared to this season, his first season at Spurs compared to his second season. And as you can see, they're already exactly the same. 1 goal and 3 assists. I still think, personally, Richarlison has a lot to prove. He's got a lot to prove, but I think there still is a good player in there. I know he's no spring chicken. He's a spring pigeon. He's about, 26, 27 now? So he's still got, he's hitting his peak, hopefully. But I still think that there is a good player in there. I've seen the goal-scoring instinct he had at Everton. He was a great player for Everton. But in this Spurs team on the left-hand side, I think he has played a important role. His best game so far this season was against Luton, and he got subbed off in that game when he was, making waves and having a lot of chances. So I still think there is a player there. The interesting thing is, if Saudi Arabian clubs offer, similar to what we paid for him, around the 60 million mark, and obviously offer him wages that he couldn't turn down, then maybe that is an option. But at the moment, when it comes to our forward positions, we've got Brennan Johnson, obviously, at the club. We've got Brian Hill. There is a lot of fighting for that left wing spot. So Richarlison has got, luck, that he probably feels a bit luckier because Manor Solomon's injury and also even Perisic. But I still think there's a good goal scorer in there. We saw in the Sheffield United game how he can come up clutch in certain matches, Good goal to draw us level, header from a corner, and then the assist, very composed in the box to tee up Dejan Kulusevski. I just really think there's a good player there. I still want to back the guy, and I still think he just hasn't had the rub of the green. Conte didn't know how to use him, played him as like a left wing back, it felt, even though he was playing in a front three. But people were saying, I remember when Kane looked like he was leaving and obviously then left for Bayern, people were actually saying that Richarlison is the perfect sort of hand striker, that sort of pressing type. But the problem is, as well, he seems to always have a problem. Son has then played through the middle and is scoring goals. So where does that leave Richarlison? Obviously, I think, I am a bit on the fence about it. I said we should keep him, but if the money is right, then we could invest that in, another player. I've seen us linked with a few winger-cum-striker types. This, couple of months leading into January already, like Antonio Nusa, really up-and-coming Norwegian player. So it does sort of put it into perspective that Richarlison has got a lot to prove still at Tottenham, big price tag on his head, number 9 shirt. sort of trying to carry the mantle from Harry Kane. But I just want to look at his FB Rev stats to sort of round this video up and sort of see if there's any sort of inkling that there is still a good player in there. So on screen now are his FB Rev stats, and there is a lot of green on there, obviously, you know, but the problem is his non-penalty goals, 0.16. It's not really good enough. It's not good enough. You know, people do say his Premier League record. I think he's got like nearly 250 appearances and about 50 Premier League goals. Is that good enough for a striker? You know, he was at Watford, he was at Everton when they've obviously been a weird team, Everton, going from like this sort of, you know, mid-table side, slipping down into relegation battles. So that's interesting. But he does, you know, he averages a lot of, you know, non-penalty XG, 0.35. You know, his shot total, 2.89. His assists, 0.31. But then, you know, his expected assist goals, 0.16. MPXG plus XAG, 0.51. Shot creating actions, 2.66. You know, look at the passing. I mean, it does take the eye test sometimes to realise with Richarlison that, you know, are we sure that there is a good player there? But look at this. His passes attempted, pass completion, progressive passes, progressive carries, successful take-ons, touches, quite good, and progressive passes received, good. So, you know, maybe getting himself in the right area. But when, you know, I've seen him try and link up the play, and sometimes it is a bit sort of where it ends. But, you know, look at his tackles, interceptions, blocks, clearances, and aerials won. He's good when it comes to defensively. And even, like, looking at the similar players to Richarlison the last 3-6-5 days, and there's interesting players amongst them. You know, you've got Jared Bowen and, you know, Harvey Barnes, Brian Mbuemo, to name a few, Inaki Williams. And you could say these players are like head and shoulders probably above Richarlison. But I'll be honest, I still think I want to hold out hope for him. I still think, you know, there is a player there. I'm wearing the Brazilian shirt in this video for a reason. I back my Brazilian striker. He keeps Gabriel Jesus out of the national team. We saw what he could do at the World Cup. I still think we got to give him one more year and see what happens. Go into next year, and if he's still not performing, then it's time to go. Although it will still be interesting to see what the Saudi clubs do offer for Richarlison, because they are paying up for people, but I don't know. You know, I'm surprised they're not trying to go for someone a bit more profitable in front of goal. So that's really interesting in this whole debate. I think a lot of Tottenham fans will be divided on this. A lot will say go, a lot will say stay, but I don't know. You have to let me know in the comments down below. What do you think? Do you think we should get rid? Do you think we should keep him? Just be as blunt as possible in the comment section down below. And if you have enjoyed this video, me sort of giving my thoughts on this Richarlison transfer that I didn't actually see coming at all, please leave a like on the video, subscribe to Sonny Talk Spurs, and hit that notification bell because it lets you know when I've gone live on the channel. And as I say, I've been Sonny, and I'll see you pretty soon on a show.